Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, citizens of YouTube. Welcome and welcome back. So, I've made a lot of progress on this project. This is 6 days of work. I think it's pretty good. I meant to record, or I did record a video before, but I forgot to turn on my mic. It is what it is. So, I just want to present a few things. One, I've rearranged the app a bit and it's feeling a lot better. So I have the view profiles at the top and it's collapsible, so I can hide it away. There was no Dudley that I could find on Civet AI. So what I did was I just chose Mr. Dursley again and hoped that it would just render a version of him, right? Like there would be a prompt generated for him that would lean him to a younger version of himself. And it did. So just more proof again of like what I think how good this will be once it as we develop. I think it's gonna just continue to improve, but where it's at now, 6 days of work, incredible. So we have that visual novel like experience that I mentioned before. I think there's still lots to improve on it. Persona 5. This is just the example that comes to my mind. I think I still need to play this game, by the way. So we have that background. There's the background. And see, yeah, just need to do a better job of proportions, right? And then the characters, they're the characters. The characters, they're boxes, as you can see. So I'm just rendering this as a box. I'm also rendering the background image the same. They're all rendered with the same dimensions, and that's part of the problem. The next thing I need to do is to start to render them with specific dimensions so that the character profiles are long and then the backgrounds are square or wide. And that's another thing, is depending on the platform that you're on, we needed to have different proportions, especially for the phone, right? So this will be interesting to get on the phone. I'll definitely be hosting it soon on my computer so that I can get that experience. It's just not quite ready yet to be an actual reader. I have a few more things to do for that, but this feels really good. So I just want to say, like, when it comes to this project, what's something that's kind of critical to think about here? And I think that would be the pipeline. So let's draw it out. So we have a pipeline being made where I have GPT read the text and then profiles are built. And then when the profiles are built, then I can have it read the text again and ask the question, what characters are actually in the scene? So in this scenario, all three of the characters are in the scene. But what happens if it's just mentioning a person and they're not actually in the place at the time? And that happens all the time in books, right? So we need a way to have that as a part of the cycle too. So we technically just have several passes through the book and having the AI read the book several times. So we have the first pass, and the first pass is focused on, is this the flow? No, this is shapes and lines. I wish I had diagramming shapes. Cool, same thing. So the first thing that we're doing is we're building profiles. Specifically character profiles. We're ignoring all others because we really want to focus on making sure that we get good character profiles. So one of the things that was happening before is because it was saying Mr. Dursley here, it would just say Mr. Dursley, Mrs. Dursley. But now it does better. It sees that there's Mr. Dursley, and because of this first pass that we do character profiles, we make sure that only full names go in there, and do a that way we know the characters that have, I guess, substance to the story, right? There will be other characters that have just their last names or their first names used, but I think it'll be okay for them just to be. I think it'll be picked up appropriately in the second pass. So we have a second pass, and this one is all entity profiles with alias guesses. So what is an alias guess? So we get these profiles, right? But here it's referred to as Mr. Dursley. So what I do is I provide the fact that because there's Dursley in here, that there's potentially Dudley, Petunia, and Vernon all in this scene, right? So I give all their full names, and when the AI picks up that those characters are present, it'll try and refer to the main profile name and then provide the alias that's being used in this context. So in this case, the alias is Mr. Dursley, and it's associated with Vernon Dursley. So that's what happens in the second pass. So let's give this a bit of a color. First pass. Cool. I think that gray is not good to have on. It'll go to blue. And that's as far as I go for the most part for the entities. Now, there's also some other path that I think that's interfering with things. So let's go ahead and draw that. So this one is scene detection. And you might have noticed this missing from last time. This is keeping track of what scene we're in. And the scene identifier there does not have any meaning with doing things sequentially, unfortunately. I started to make it faster by doing things asynchronously, so scenes are sort of out of order, but it doesn't matter because the passages are guaranteed to be in order. So if you follow by the passage and they just say, hey, what scene is associated with this passage, that's all that matters. So scene 13, and I think that's how movies are filmed too. They're filmed out of order because of just the logistics of everything. You're not really guaranteed to have them in order. I think there was this one movie, it was a war movie that was shot all in one shot, I think famously. I forgot what it was. It was something recent, but that sounds like a whole feat in of itself. It's really cool. So anyways, it's keeping track of what scene you're on. So I'll just generate one more for good measure before I leave because I think this is a good passage. But I've had problems with deciphering the text for EPUBs. I tried a different version of book 1 of the EPUB and it didn't work out too well. So yeah, like this is doing really well. Little Dudley, the house in the back for Privet Drive, right? Building, number 4, and then Mr. and Mrs. Dursley. This is great. And sometimes she's blonde, sometimes she's brunette. It's kind of interesting. There's no consistency, but the book says she's blonde. The movies, she's brunette. So interesting stuff. So as I go through right now, it's not remembering. It just keeps the images for the passage you're on. So apparently scene 13 is 8 through 10, and I haven't verified these scenes. So it'll be interesting to see as I go through this, how well is it doing scene detection? And then once I go to scene 14, or the next scene, right now it's saying this scene spans 11 through 15, and technically that should be the duration of how long one of those background images are there. And right now the scenes do not say who is present in the scene, so that you can say, oh, that character is mentioned, but they should not be presented as a part of the scene. They're just mentioned. Like, for instance, all the times Voldemort is brought up, he who should not be named is brought up. That's just a mention, not the fact that he's there. So scene detection is trying to track, okay, what should be in the background. So that's 4 pages or 4 passages of this background being the case, and who's there. So in total right now, we have the AI reading the book 3 times. One of them is taking place sequentially, and then one can be isolated alone. So as this is going on, right, I've just been adding things as I go. And as this has been going on, I'm starting to realize, like, okay, so this is like I'm building a brain, or I guess a system where it needs to read the book several times. And we need to minimize the amount of times it needs to read the text, because that costs money. And it takes a long time to do. And so we need to paralyze as much as we can and keep them isolated. And that might make it stronger because of that. Might be a bad thing in hindsight, but I'll go with that direction for now. And we'll see how it goes. So that's the update for now. Let's see how this renders. Who's in this scene? Oh, just Vernon. Cool. So we'll see him being all upset. And yeah, I don't really want to make this any longer. Oh, include everybody. Oh, that's a problem. A bug. Still looking at the old scene. Yeah, we'll see what's going on. Maybe Force Generation, just to see what happens. Yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this update. More coming soon. Talk to you guys later. And oh man, an outro, but come on, let's just see what this next one is. Dang, she's old. Wow. Okay. See ya.